good morning from Vienna, and thank you for having me. As already introduced, I will just give you a quick overview about the financing strategies for climate adaptation measures in Austria, especially the KLAR program, since it is a funding program that we have for regions that really is especially for climate change adaptation. Maybe just a quick outline of what's going to happen in the next 15 minutes. I will give you just a quick overview about the climate adaptation strategies we have in Austria, and then I will focus on this KLAR program. I always say KLAR because Climate Change Adaptation Model Region Program is a very, very long word. That's why I have this abbreviation. And yeah, so I'm looking forward to show you what we are doing here. Maybe first things first, the first measure in Austria that we have in this case is actually my workplace. So I will start with this. So I'm working at the Climate and Energy Fund, which was founded 2007 by the Austrian federal government. And one of our goals is like buildings, regions, and cities to reach, helping them to reach climate neutrality and resilience. So one of our goals is this. So already just, let's say the existence of this place is already one really important financial measure from the Austrian government, to do so. So maybe now just going a bit deeper. The Austria has as most countries an adaptation strategy on the state level, and it consists of like 14 different fields of activities, as we call it. I just listed them here for you. So that are the 14 different fields of activity in order to, where you have to take measures in order to have a resilient country. As you can see, this is a really multi-sectoral challenge. So this is also like all these sectors already exist with measures for itself, basically. Which brings me to a very, very important point also for us and for financing adaptation measures in general, and that's mainstreaming. So we call mainstreaming the act of we say climate in all policies. So also just to raise awareness in this sectoral space to what does climate change adaptation mean in your field of work, in your budget also, because in the sectors there's already budget in order to use this for climate change adaptation, so that it can also be a sustainable budget or sustainable financing. That is a very, very important and hard challenge, of course, because that's a lot of also awareness raising, and it depends, of course, on the sector how much the awareness is already there. Just one example, like say the whole water management, or also the whole natural hazard sector, so to say, has a really high awareness of climate change adaptation and the need for it. But some other sectors, for example, tourism or health, sometimes it's not as the awareness is not as high yet. So that may be one of my main points, that it's like there's not one, you can't just from the top down have one financial solution to climate change adaptation. It really is a sectoral effort, and very, very important to just think that within the already existing sectoral budgets. That being said, we do have, as I said before, one program that is especially for climate change adaptation and tackles or tries to tackle all these sectors. I just discovered it's called multi-sectoral, not multi. Sorry, there's a typo in my header, but I think you got my point. So maybe just a quick history. So in 2016, as you may remember, was the Paris Agreement. Their adaptation next to mitigation became the second equal pillar of international climate policies. And we here in Austria had before already a program called the CAM program, Climate and Energy Model Regions, existing like since 2009. So that has been there for a while, supporting regions in the field of mitigation. Already to in the start, there was not really a high awareness of that back in the day. This program was really successful on the regional level, and that's why in 2016 then we decided to do the same thing basically. We call them sister programs for adaptation. So that's when the KLAR program was funded. And I'm just going to show you like what we support with this climate change adaptation model region program. Generally, like just an overview about both of our regional programs, so the mitigation and the adaptation program. We cover like a lot of Austria already, as you can see. So in the green color, you see the adaptation regions, and in blue, the mitigation regions, so to say. In this being said, maybe just a quick clarification for those of you who maybe not be aware of like maybe how Austria's structure is, so to say. So there's Vienna with 2 million inhabitants. All in all, we have about 9 million here. There are 9 different federal states, and there are just like 9 cities in the whole country that have more than 50,000 people. So it's quite it's a country that's has a lot of rural areas, and in these areas, it's often really hard for the single municipalities who are quite small often to address those big challenges like climate change, especially because they don't have the manpower. There are many places where you like have a mayor and they just there for a couple of hours a week, and they have a lot of administrative things to do. So what these programs, both of these mainly do is they fund human resources. So all of these regions do get a climate manager. We call them caretakers, who are applying strategies for the region and pushing measurements. I will go into further detail now, but just that you know why we do this, because we don't have so many big cities with a lot of human resources in Austria. So as I said, it started in 2016, and what we are doing is, like, of course, the goal was to give regions the opportunity to prepare for climate change and minimize the negative consequences. We also do this not only by financial support, but also through continuous education in the regions, and also peer learning between the regions, because we have a really diverse landscape in Austria. There are different challenges depending, like, for example, if you were like in the, I don't know, in the high mountains up in the Alps, or if you're just in the more in the east, where you have a really big problem with heat, and so it really depends on where you are. But often, of course, regions do have similar challenges, so they can also learn from each other and see what measures work or which don't. So the framework of this program is that it's a bottom-up program. What does it mean? So the municipalities can form themselves, so we don't tell them you have to be a region. And of course, the whole program is, you can do this voluntarily. It has, what we say, it has to have at least 5 communities or municipalities in one region, and a maximum of 20. And you shouldn't have more than 60,000 people within one region. So this is more like the given framework we have, but within this framework, it is bottom up. Then of the money we give is like 75%, so 25% of the costs in this program has to be of their own resources by the municipalities. And the funding recipients are only public bodies exclusively. And we ensure, of course, as I said, showed you before, also with this multi-sectoral fields of activities, we ensure that everything that is in this program is in relation to state and federal strategies in the field of climate change adaptation. As I said before, it's also not just money, it's also education and network information events we provide for these regions and for the managers. Right now, we do have 91 regions in Austria. The different colors depend on what phase they're in. So like, let's say the green ones is more like the beginner phase. So this is where the region is developing a strategy. And then the blue is more than the follow-up, where they really implement measures based on the strategy they did before. So all in all, we have, oh, I see it's in German. I'm sorry, I have to change that. So it's 91 regions and over 800 municipalities we have, and more than 2 million inhabitants already live in one of our KLAR regions. What are the success factors? As I said before, you like in the beginning, every region has to have an implementation concept. Why is this so important? As I said before, climate change adaptation, it really depends on where you are, what consequences you have to take, and where your focus should be. So in the beginning, that's a really big part of to look like individually, how does my region look like? What challenges do we have? Because you can't just copy anything, because it really depends on where, on your location and also on your structure. Then really the main point is this driving force on location. This is the manager, the caretaker that we that is paid by the funding that we give. So somebody who really is pushing that topic and pushing the local authorities also to just really do these measures. And there's a really big participation progress within this program, so that just really the whole region and everybody involved is part of the measurements. As I said before, it has different phases, and just to give you an idea money-wise, so at first there's this concept and implementation phase with the development of the implementation concept in the first year, and then the implementation of 10 measures in the 2 years after. So that's a 3-year period. And after that, you can always apply for a continuation phase. That's also 3 years, where you have to at least implement another 6 measures. The measures itself are also bottom up, so they're coming from the region. And in this phase, like the funding depends on the size of the region, of the inhabitants, and also of the number of municipalities. But let's say when you're a big region, it's like up to around 250 to 300,000 euro for the 3-year period that you get. So that's mainly money for the person, for the manager to work there, and also often planning costs for measurements. So it really is more like a structural support and manpower support in order to kick off measures within this program. We also support with fact sheets in the very beginning. So we provide for every region their own climate indicators, and a bit like the individual challenges that is from climate change for the region. That's a really important part in the beginning. where we support the regions in order for them to really have measures that fit their needs. And then, of course, really the backbone of this program are the managers. They have regular training meetings, contact with experts and scientists. It's an Austria-wide network. And even now, it also goes over the borders of Austria that they connect with others. So there's a big peer learning point in it as well. We want to have one big thing there as well. We have an invest part for regions that are already in the implementation phase. You get up to 40,000 euro for really investment measures in the fields of heat and water management. And it's especially for investment gaps of other sectoral fundings, because, for example, especially in, let's say, water management, there are, of course, for flood protection, etc. There are existing fundings, but we have this bottom-up project where they can have measures they need that are not covered by other fundings and subsidies that we have. For example, we found that smaller retention basins, for example, is something that's not covered by the really big flood protection subsidies, because that more goes to like really big rivers and really huge measures. But often the smaller measures on a local scale can help a lot. So this is why we started this INVEST program, and this is especially for our KLAR regions and especially for investment costs. So I'm nearly done. I just like maybe you can get, I don't know if you get the presentation later. I can provide it. I just have just some examples what has been done in the region. So we have a huge range of projects. For example, one region had like they trained sniffer dogs for bark beetle detection. So that was more in the forestry sector. Then we also have, of course, in water management, like revitalization or turn securing and things like that. But then we also, for example, had one region that had a big let's say, more policy approach to mobilization of vacant properties and building land, which is in some region actually a very big problem. And also the sealing of soil is a big problem in Austria. So this is more tackling this part. So that's just to give you an idea. And now I come just really done, just a quick summary. So we have a bottom-up program, which really works well for us here, because adaptation really is on a local level something where the people themselves often really know well what measures they need. The key factor is a manager on location. So as I said before, there are not a lot of human resources there just by itself in the municipalities. So really just the caretaker is who's pushing this topic is really an absolute game changer in this climate change adaptation activities. Then we have this individual concept for the local challenges. So every region for itself has a concept. And of course, all relevant stakeholders also on the local level in the community and in the region are integrated in the process. And one main point that I said in the very beginning, mainstreaming, because like with an overall financial support for climate change adaptation, you can only go so far. It really has to go in all sectors, climate in all policies, awareness raising in budgets that are already existing. So yeah, with that, I'm just a bit over time. I think it's okay, I hope.